here we're going to look at solving an equation that has fractional coefficients or maybe a lot of fractions in it. Now we could just do our normal steps, add something to both sides, so on and so forth, but every time you add with fractions you have to get a common denominator. So if we could clear all the fractions first, it might make this easier. So if I look at what's causing this to be a fraction, there's a divided by 2, a divided by 3, a divided by 2. So if I could multiply with something that could get rid of that. So if I multiply by 3, that would get rid of divided by 3. If I multiply by 2, that would get rid of divided by 2. Is there one step I can do that would get rid of all of that? Well, instead of multiplying by 3 and then by 2, if we just multiply everything in the whole equation by 6, and now think if I'm multiplying by a whole number like 6, that's like 6 over 1. And so really, it's just the top of the fractions that are getting multiplied by 6. Well, I like to just write 6 times on every single term so I don't forget about any of them. And if they each have their own 6, I can do the crossing off that I want to, canceling possibly on them. Alright, so first the whole number. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24x. Then 6 over 2 reduces to 3. And then the next one we'll see 6 over 3. So I can divide them both by 3. So I end up with 2 over 1. And so what am I left with? Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then this last one, 6 over 2, I can divide them both by 2, so that becomes 3 over 1. So if you picked your LCD correctly, if you multiply by the LCD, it should get rid of all the denominators. And so here I'm just left with negative 5 times 3, so negative 15 over 1. So in one step, I got rid of all the fractions. Now it'll be a lot easier to do steps to both sides of this, so let's maybe add 24x to both sides. And I'll do one step at a time. So we get 3 equals 16x minus 15. And then I'll add 15 to both sides. So I have 18 equals 16x. And divide both sides by 16. And so I'm essentially done, but I want to make sure my fraction's reduced all the way. I can divide 18 and 16 at least both by 2. So I end up with 9 over 8. And then never a bad idea, even if you're only just going to do it on the calculator to save time because of all the fractions, to put your answer back in there and make sure that it works.